Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. This is the second webinar in the Game Changing Impact installment. My name is Kep McConnor. I'm from Enterprise Lab. The program or the webinar that we're going through today is on the importance and relevance of engaging and influencing. The whole Game Changing Impact program is brought to you by the InnoEnergy Career Centre, which is powered by the GC Index, which is the organometric assessment and profiling that's been used, and Enterprise Lab are here as supporters and deliverer of the coaching program that's coming through. So what have we got in store for you today? It's quite an intensive program. We've got some great panelists and stuff coming in, which I'm going to introduce very, very shortly. So we've got a short welcome in by myself. I'm going to then hand it over to the Career Centre to give you a little bit more information. From there, we're going to move on from there to the Game Changing Impact Program Coaching Goals and Outcomes from Nathan Ott. We then have we're going to go into two core topics. One around the importance of engaging and influencing in your master program. The other will be about the importance of engaging and influencing within industry. We will wrap up a few polls and give you some results from that, and then this will be followed up with a final piece from around impact awareness and your next coaching session, which will be delivered by Nathan himself. Finally, we'll close off with the results of the main poll that we'll have running as well. So the webinar is slightly different in its approach to the last webinar that you guys have been on. It's an interactive session, so you'll see that the setup on your screens on Zoom is slightly different. You have an option for Q&A. I encourage you to put any questions into that Q&A section. All questions can be answered by panelists and the host itself, and there is a continual dialogue. You'll be able to actually respond and put comments to those questions as well. Don't use the chat function, use Q&A for questions. There will also be from time to time a few polls that we're going to be sending out there. So I will pre-warn you that the poll is coming out. It will flash a pop-up onto your screen, and that pop-up will then be your opportunity to cast your vote on or select the option on that poll. At the end of each topic, we'll be giving the results of that particular poll, and as I say, in between those two topics that we discussed, we're going to set out a main poll, which I'll give the results for at the end of this webinar. So, you know, the whole program itself has been brought to us. The Game Changing Impact Program has been brought to you by the InnoEnergy Career Centre, and I think it'll be a brilliant opportunity for Marlouche to come on and give you a little bit of background and insights into the Career Centre itself. Marlouche, are you there? Hello.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. So over to you.
Great, thanks, Kevin. So my name is Marlouche. I'm the Human Capital Manager at InnoEnergy. And well, to give you a short introduction why InnoEnergy Career Centre is doing it, is organizing this program. It's mainly to teach our students how to make a game-changing impact into organizations. And specifically about this week's topic, it's engaging and influencing. I think it's a very important skill to have and to learn. As managers and directors in big organizations are not the only people who are in an organization to decide about new directions. So you do not have to be in a management or leadership position to have a big influence in decision making within an organization. I think it's really important to realize that. And if you want to make a change into organizations, but you are not the CEO or have another executive or highly positioned function, what are then your possibilities? It's good to know your strengths and to know how you can influence others. So communication skills are key here. And some charismatic people have the natural ability to make people listen to them. Other people not convinced because of being a subject matter expert or specialist or certain knowledge in a certain knowledge. And again, other people have more of an advisory role. All of them it's really valuable in organizations and can bring advantage and also can create change within organizations. So to make this really clear for yourself, please listen today to the webinar and get inspired, and use your next coaching session, of course, to look deeper into your own personal situation. So what would work for you, looking to your own strengths and looking to your own capabilities. And practice, of course. So now you're still a student, and all of you do a lot of teamwork, or some of you are an active member of the community or the kind of professional environment. Use this to the max and become an expert in influencing other people. So this is my advice. So back to you, Catherine.
Wonderful, thank you, Marlies. I really appreciate that. And Marlies, you'll be back in during the main topics and panels as we come through. So we look forward to getting more insights and feedback for you. But thank you for that right now. We would also like to then kind of move over and have a quick update and introduction from Nathan. He's going to give you a little bit more about the coaching goals and outcomes that come with the Game Changing Impact Program. Nathan, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ketan. So hello everyone. So this might feel a little bit repetitive, but it's intentional. If you could just flick over the slide, Ketan, please. So within the program, as you will know, there are 5 core learning objectives that we want to help you with. These have been constructed and put together from researching what students are looking for. So how do we maximize our organizational impact? So when we leave our studies and we enter into the competitive world of either starting our own businesses, getting employment, how can we get ahead of master students from other universities and other programs, and how can we put energy students at a better advantage? So you should already be familiar with these. Today, or this section of the program is also about engaging and influencing. And it was highlighted, it was over 90% of the previous programs said they felt they needed development of how they can engage and influence others. Over 90% of students, and it was felt that it was a big development area for them. And why? Well, it was for those that wanted to engage others in their ideas, particularly how do they engage organizations, investors, employers, other peers in their ideas. How can they flex their approach to different stakeholders? How do they engage people that maybe think different to them? How do they engage hearts as well as minds? And how do they actually themselves manage themselves to be more open to influence from others? So how do they take on board other people's points of views so that they themselves can engage in 2 ways? So this is, you'll see they're the 5 sort of areas that we want to focus on. And I'll come back at the end just to show you some of the support materials with your coaches and that we're providing you to help you with that. But I'd like you just to listen to the experts that we've got now moving forwards. We've over the next half an hour about the importance of engaging and influencing currently whilst you're students, and how to get the best out of that whilst you are energy students, and then how you can get the best out of engaging and influencing when you enter the world of work if you're not already there. Okay, thank you, Ketan.
Thank you very much there, Nathan. So as we have it, we've got the background and context from both the Career Centre and from the GC Index and where we're going for. The whole purpose behind this this webinar is to understand the importance and relevance to engaging and influencing. So there are two elements and aspects to this: there's the engaging part and the influencing part. Very much like what Marlies was saying, whether you're part of the community team, whether you're kind of engaging with your peers, where you're working in projects, right the way through to how you engage within the industry. So we've set up two sets of topics that we're going to be discussing. The first one that we're going to come up on is the importance of engaging and influencing in your master program. Now, we've got, alongside the Career Centre team, we've got Grace and Marlies. We also have Farhan joining us. He's a second-year master student on the master program at InnoEnergy. And we've also got Dr. Florian Bauer, who's one of the coordinators, or the coordinator for the MSc in NTech. Now, essentially, before we go into the conversation and I introduce the panelists in, I'm going to launch a poll, which is going to be open to you guys to answer through. You can take your time throughout the duration of this conversation and this piece that we're going to work on to put your answer in. So you don't have to go in immediately and push that poll. I will give an indicator as to when the poll is going to close, so making sure that everyone has had an opportunity to put their vote in. So the poll that we're gonna set up or have set up for you is, and I'm just about to launch this, so it should pop up on your screen very shortly, is how would you rate your engagement with the InnoEnergy ecosystem? So the poll that's come in now is this. So you don't necessarily have to answer straight away, but we will commence into the panel discussion, and you can answer from that base. I can see some of you have already started to answer now, so it's really, really good. So whilst the poll is running there, I'd like to introduce both Marlies and Grace and Farhan and Florian to this. You can unmute your mics. Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Grace. Farhan, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon, Ketan.
Hey, and Florian. Hi, Florian. Okay, I might need to unmute Florian for us. Marlies, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. So as we get Florian going through, so the whole purpose and the importance of engaging and influencing within a master program, we want to look at different aspects. So the whole purpose of having all of you on today is to look at two things. I want to get your perspective on what it is like to engage and influence within the program, and then also what's important and why it's important that you're engaging and influencing. So I'm going to come over to Farhan first, if that's okay. You're a second-year student. What program are you on?
Ketan, first of all, greetings to everyone who's listening. I am from Energy for Smart Cities program.
Wonderful. And how's it going?
It's going fun. It's a lot of things going on at the moment with the almost finish of the master school. But overall, it's been a great journey so far, and I'm still loving it. Excellent,
excellent. So look, you've got a lot of first-year students who are walking the path that you've already walked, and I guess you're coming to the fruition of your master here. Tell me something. What is your experience and perspective about engaging and influencing within the master program? What's it been like for you as an experience?
To be honest, Ketan, I think it's something that is not natural for many of the students that are joining the master school, and it was same for me back in 2017 when I joined the master school. I was not a person that was very eloquent to talk to other people and to engage in situations that I don't feel comfortable in. Mm-hmm. So I think with the throughout the journey, throughout this InnoEnergy Master School, there were a lot of opportunities that were just not academics. So that was one of the things that I really personally liked about this master program, was to get out there, start experiencing and start making the contribution in other aspects other than academics. So okay. Overall, for me, this was the most important point, to develop the skills that are outside the academics. So that helped me a lot.
I think you bring a really valid point. I think people coming from so many different international backgrounds, cultures, sometimes you're put into groups with total strangers. Sometimes getting that kind of communication going and being able to engage with others can be a bit of a challenge. What are the kind of things that did you adopt? What were there any kind of processes or methodologies or techniques that you started to use to help you engage and influence whilst you're on the program?
I think one of the major element was to change the mindset. That was the most hardest thing as well, but also the most valuable thing, because when you are in your own mindset and you are coming from a different culture, or you are just in your own way of living life, you think that this is the way that is going to be, and this is the way you will be going through this master program. But I think that's the first step. Changing the mindset was crucial for me. After that, I realized that there are a lot of different sectors within InnoEnergy's ecosystem that you can just enter and start to basically innovate or start to test these kind of places. So I did that. I took every opportunity that was there out there. So I think from the InnoVice program of InnoEnergy to working with ISC InnoEnergy for the online platform, then Community by InnoEnergy. So I've been all around the places with InnoEnergy's ecosystem. But all this stuff, it's not a one-step solution. So it's like a continuous journey. So that was very helpful, going through each different element and then learning every bit of details from there. So that helped me a lot.
That's fantastic insight as well, and thank you, Farhan. And I think, I'm going to flip this right now over to Florian. Florian, we've had a perspective from a student. It'd be really, really good now to get a perspective from I guess from the program itself. As a coordinator and part of the team that delivers the MSc and NTech, where do you feel your perspective is on engaging and influencing in the program, and what do you believe is really important about engaging and influencing in the program?
Yeah, I would just say the same what Farhan was already told. So there is it was a perfect start, as he said, or the development over the time that you have a lot of opportunities inside InnoEnergy to engage. What I just came up in my mind when I heard about Farhan's experiences and also his change during this time. Of course, you have. When I can report about my time in the last 6 months when I was inside of the master's school, every day I experience new things where to engage. This is really amazing, and you have so many opportunities where you can also see what which has quite a big influence on yourself. So this is something which is really valuable, but of course you have to see that you focus somehow on what you are going to do. And therefore, I think a good point is that to focus on this added values, for example, which you have in each and every master program, which gives you somehow a guideline also that where to engage, and also where to have, where I can concentrate on. Nevertheless, as I said, every day I experience more opportunities also outside of the InnoEnergy that is linked to the to the master programs.
And look, I mean, you come from you're in Germany with the NTech program. You've kind of had a wave of first year students, and now they're second year students like Farhan. Have you seen a distinctive change in the way that students engage now to the way they engaged and influenced before, in the early stages of their program? So, have you seen marked differences in their ability to communicate and engage to achieve what they want to today compared to when they first came on the program?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because actually this is like this. I don't know. I cannot estimate if this is according to the progression they have during their program, but when I started, it was that I met both of them, the intake, the first year intake and the second year intake. and the way of talking was quite different. So also the open way of talking. So the first year were much more, let's say, reserved and much more technical, also orientated, I would say, also in terms of language. The second year was quite open, and we went to a Christmas market and so on, and do also more things which were more, let's say, team-like and more, collaborative.
Interesting.
There was a different,
That's an interesting, like Christmas market and stuff that you make. You kind of build the opportunity to connect and engage more in external environments, not just in the institution or within the university or within the energy program itself. As a program, you kind of encourage doing a lot more external engagement as much as internal engagement as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
okay.
I can feel this.
So from a sort of, I'm going to move this over to the Career Centre now. So Grace and Marlush, from your perspective, I mean, obviously the Career Centre is there to support energy students, master students through the whole process and journey of their master program, to get them into the careers of their dreams and their aspirations, to help them really unlock the potential through what they're studying to what they can go on and do in the energy industry. What's your perspective with engaging and influencing? I mean, Grace, as a coordinator, if I can come to you, you perhaps get a lot more sort of interaction with students, on a near-term basis. What is engaging and influencing kind of as a perspective from the Career Centre when it comes to the Energy Master Program?
Well, I think I have to agree with Farhan and with Florian. It's also engaging with joining events, but also external engagement is very important. I think it's good to look for common goals with other people, within companies, for example. Be committed and ask for questions. For example, students who are asking me if I know interesting opportunities, they're being engaged and they're asking for help, which could bring them further within their career or help create more career perspectives for them. So the more you are involved, I think the more engagement you could have, and it could be a big benefit for your future career.
It's interesting you bring that, and Marlush, I'm just going to bring you in on this. I mean, obviously, as human capital manager, and you've had a lot of engagement and interaction with the industry, and which is combined in with the master program itself. How important do you feel it is that students understand, appreciate, and practice engaging and influencing within the master program to help them further engage when it comes to the industry, whether they're looking for internships or even that actual dream job?
Yeah, it's extremely important to practice all of this already right now, because I think without really noticing, you already learn all these skills which are so necessary when you enter your first real job or your start your career. And so, I mean, all of the programs are a bit differently organized, but all of them include all these opportunities of working together in teams, working together with other cultures, different kind of people, listening to each other, and to practice in like, hey, how do I engage with other people? How do I learn to know them? And also, it's very useful to have not only your own GCIP results, for example, some of your fellow crewmates. What were your results? And it might give you a bit of an understanding of how other people work and think, and what kind of role you would take in your team. And for example, when I speak to industries who have hired our alumni, they are very positive about the profiles which comes out of our programs. They certainly value that our students do not have like only the interest of the engineering topic, so to say, but also being able to communicate at a very high level. And that's certainly something that's one of, when you are within our program, you certainly should benefit from. And well, you will learn while doing it. It's on top of that, it's to be aware of it and to make most out of it.
Amazing. Great insights there as well, and really some really good advice. Okay, for you guys that are listening in on this webinar, the poll's going to be closing in 1 minute. So there's about 15 of you that haven't voted yet. Make sure you get your votes in the next minute as we just go into the sort of final elements of this this topic here. So if I was to come to each of you and ask for one tip, one technique, one bit of advice that you would give to the students who are listening into this webinar, really fundamentally about, oh, okay, we've got one person. I will, Sai, I will reinitiate the poll for you. It should pop up on your screen. Otherwise, there should be a button there for polls. Check on that and it should pop up on there. But essentially, if I was to come to you guys and say right now, one bit of advice, one technique, one approach that you would give and to underpin the importance of engaging and influencing, what would that be? Farhan, if I come to you first, as you kind of got us started, is there anything that you'd like to tell the audiences or advice that you'd like to give?
I would just say that whatever is out there, just look for it and don't be shy. Just go out there and try the things that people say that it's not possible, but if you try, then you will know if it's possible or not. So I would say just go out there and do stuff that you like to do.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Farhan. Let's go over to Grace. Grace, what's your one bit of advice that you'd give to any students out there about the importance of engaging and influencing?
I would say connect with many people, work together in teams, listen to other people, and try to create a team that will eventually make you be able to motivate, inspire others.
Fantastic. Amazing stuff. Okay, Jonathan Ottiker is also saying can't see the poll. I'll check with you guys. If you are on a browser, you may have to press the poll button. I'm not sure if that's popped up, but I'll come back to that in a second. Florian, what's your last piece of advice that you'd give?
Just test it. I mean, nothing to lose. Therefore, we have this master programs. One big part is also that you can test yourself without any consequences, let's say. And yes. This is something which is very valuable. And there's a stage for it. Everyone wants to have it. You will see and you will experience the difference than you might have before in your life. Here you have the playground to do it.
Wonderful. Lovely metaphor there. I love that. Excellent. And Marlouche, last but not least, one bit of advice and guidance or technique that you'd give about the importance of engaging and influence. I know you've said a lot in the introduction and stuff, and you've given a lot of here. Is there anything else or one lasting thing that you'd like to repeat?
Yeah, well, just make use of what the poll is about, the innovative ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So we are not only education within Innovatie, we support like 190 startups and also like a lot of innovation projects which can all be found on our website. And the Career Center is also helping you guys to make the match. If you are looking for an internship, for example, mm-hmm. We will. And that's an important part of engage with each other, engage with the Career Center, engage with, for example, your program director or with one of the co-locations of InnoEnergy. I mean, there's so many chances to make use of. But yeah, for sure, check out if there's any possibility for you to do some internship within our ecosystem of InnoEnergy. Because yeah, you are here a student within Innovatie, and one of the big advantages of that is that you have within your reach a lot of really innovative and nice startups and scale-ups, which are really well known with our InnoEnergy students, and happy to offer all kind of possibilities to you guys. So that's my to check out what kind of possibilities we have also at our community platform, where we have the job board, etc. Yeah, and make use of it.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And to all panelists, I really, really thank you for your insights and participation in that. Right, okay, I'm going to close this poll down. I can see that the majority have been able to come in. I think a few people have had some technical issues with regards to getting the poll because they haven't downloaded Zoom, but we're looking into that. I've got someone looking into that right now. As I end the poll, you should be able to see some of the results that have come through. So, you know, we have 26% here talking about they're not sure where to start. You know, a large percentage, the majority percentages that you're getting there. And I think obviously some of the insights that the panelists have given you give you some good kind of inspiration on how to move. Really pleasantly surprised to see how many of you are actually getting into the engaged piece. For those of you that have voted on here that say you're not sure where to start, I think pick up from what Marlush and Grace and even Farhan has been talking. It's about getting out there, just asking a few questions. You don't necessarily have to be the center of attention. There is so many different areas and avenues that you can engage or get connected into through the master program ecosystem itself. What Florian talks about, the fact that from a program perspective, it's not just about internal communication, there's also external communication. If you're still kind of intimidated or not entirely sure, kind of look at how your colleagues and your friends are actually engaging into the ecosystem, and you know, try a pathway through that as well. But I think as both Marlush and Grace have kind of openly suggested, the Career Centre is there as an opportunity. You've got the community platform. There's a lot of wonderful things going on. Farhan, as a second year student, has mentioned that there are things there, you know, which you can get engaged into. You've got your innovation journeys, you've got your business projects, you can go look at the business creation units. There are so many different ways that you can network and connect, but using the InnoEnergy Master Program ecosystem as a platform to practice your engaging and influencing is going to be very, very important for you, as it's going to help you set yourself up for how you network externally. So we close the results here. As you can see now, the results should be shared with you. You should be able to see that that's coming up from that side there. The majority of it is in the I am getting there stage. And we're going to now move over to our next source. Okay, let me just pick up the chat function again. Okay, for the guys that didn't see the pop-up should be coming when I launch the next poll as we go along. So as we move into the next topic, before I introduce our panelists, which ironically we have Farhan and Florian back, but we're also going to be introducing Sitska Jacobs, an industry consultant and actually an InnoEnergy coach. So some of you may actually have Sitska working with you on the InnoEnergy Game Changing Impact program. We have another set of results that another poll that we're going to actually raise. Now, this is the main poll that I'm going to be setting up. It's something that I would like for you guys to sort of answer, and what we will try to do is before the end of this poll, this session, we should have some of these results, and then I have a secondary poll which is very relevant to this topic here. So the main poll that we're going to be introducing to you, which I'm introducing very, very, very shortly now, bear with me while I stop sharing the results of one and start the main, is it's really about how you rate your ability to engage and influence others. So the poll is coming out to you right now. How do you rate your ability to engage and influence others? Some, the options are set there. Feel free to start filling that in. Wow, it's going up very, very quickly. While that's going along, I want to bring in topic 2, the importance of engaging and influencing within the industry. So for this, we have Farhan and Dr. Bauer there. Sitska, are you there? Oh, I might have to just unmute her. Sitska, can you hear us? Bear with me one second. Hi, Sitska.
Hi, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you?
Good, we can hear you now. We can hear you. So, give me 1 second. For me on the poll that fan, it should say, oh, lovely. Nathan, the polisher, has found a spelling mistake. I do apologize. But yes, that's the polisher nature. Polisher 10s will find the mistakes. I love that. So it should be, I'm not fond, this is difficult. I found this is difficult. So, so this whole subject we're talking about is the importance of engaging and influencing in industry. Now, I'm going to be bringing in Farhan, to give us a perspective from a student's perspective of engaging with industry. But let's start with you, Sitska. I mean, you've been doing a lot of stuff within the industry. You are, you've been there with the Game Changing Impact Challenges and the stuff that we do at European Utility Week. As someone who works within the industry, consulting businesses, and also as an InnoEnergy coach. What are your perspectives, and what do you believe is important when it comes to engaging and influencing within industry?
Well, thanks first of all for inviting me for the webinar. I'm happy to be here. And well, I think the first thing that I would like to mention, because we so far most of it has been on how to engage and influence within your own community and maybe within your teamwork or within the master program. But I think you guys have a huge opportunity to build your own personal brand. We are in an more than ever connected digital world. Everything is shared on media, on social media. Especially now you have the chance of building that thought leadership for yourself, getting to know who is out there, what type of associations are there, how can you put yourself forward, and as well a little bit out of your comfort zone. And by getting to know them, engage with them, knowing what they are after, what their goals are, so you can align with that. You could work on, I don't know, writing a blog for them, maybe volunteering, because a lot of those associations are working with volunteers, which will help you connect with the larger industry, so to say, and it will help you build a brand.
Brilliant. I mean, and obviously you've seen a number of volumes of students during the European Utility Week and the Game Changing Impact Challenges, and the GCIC isn't just about the program that InnoEnergy's Career Centre brings to European Utility Week. It's an opportunity for students to get out there and engage with the industry, with other businesses there, and we normally encourage the students to go out and meet with these people. When it comes to engaging and influencing, or perhaps engaging more with that side of the industry as opposed to influencing, you mentioned things about showing interest and producing opportunities of volunteering and communicating. What are the biggest hurdles do you think students come across when it comes to connecting and engaging with the industry? And what advice would you have to get over that? I mean, networking is what we're getting down to, and you of all people will know that building a network is very, very important. So what advice do you give to first year students who are listening to this today in how they kind of overstep that barrier to entry that they would have when it comes to engaging? Yeah, I think it comes down, well, I think what I was saying before as well, you would have to get out of your comfort zone. Like, it doesn't just happen. And bear in mind that everyone that you will meet and that you want to engage with, they've been in the exact same phase of their career or life, right? No one is a born networker. Well, there's a few, of course, but the majority of people are just not. People don't want they don't want to see you fail. Like, if you walk up to someone, and especially when it's in the same industry that you're working on, either it's someone who's got, a massive or vast amount of experience and is most likely happy to share that with you because they're really passionate about what they're speaking about and what they've been doing throughout their career, or it's someone who might not know that much yet,
so that would lower the barrier anyway. Like I would just my biggest advice would be to really trust on your ability to network and to engage, and you've got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Brilliant. I mean, it's an immense thing. And I think, look, this is probably the right time to bring Farhan in. I mean, as a student, this interlocks really well with the things that Sits has said. But from your perspective as a student, where do you feel the challenges were when you first came into the master program about engaging and influencing in the industry, and where are you today? Because I know you've created presentations, you've pitched to industry now, you're working on different projects, so you've kind of moved on and you've started to create results within the industry using your engaging and influencing skills. What's your journey been like? Do you want to kind of share some of that stuff?
Yeah, sure. So I think particularly for my case, it's been ups and downs for sure. It's always like that. But I think in every master program of Energy, you always have this opportunities coming from the Energy Master School. Smart Cities program have this journeys of innovation journeys. And tech programs have these ateliers, and select program have different. So every program has their own setup apart from the academics that they are following within their universities. So it's like kind of I would say you don't know that you are already progressing, but you are just going along the journey, and then you find that okay, you are a bit different from the way from the point you started back in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
So for me it was the same. I would say that first year was more like learning, testing, and just trying things.
Mm-hmm.
Second year, I think here I would also like give credit because the second year I tried to learn more on the entrepreneurship side. So that was the part that I really wanted to test, because I was thinking that it's a good time in my life to do that. So there was an opportunity from the Smart Cities program as well, but then there were a lot of uncertainties coming from your own personal inclinations. So at this point, it was very helpful actually the GC Index coaching program. And why I'm mentioning that, as Nathan mentioned also about like how this program is developed, but for me personally, and it's I would be saying it's an insight that if you take an attitude of learning from these coaches, then you will have personally a higher gain in the end than those who will not. So from my point of view, I was a bit unsure in between that I should quit this entrepreneurship path and just focus on the industrial path. And then I had great discussions with my coach. I really like Biju about it. He's a great coach for me. He helped me basically identify what I would be gaining from following this program. Either it's a success or not in terms of creating something monetary, but in the end there is an experience behind it. So from that point of onwards, I've been trying, and so far it's been success. It's a lot of work in parallel to academics, but I would say that if you are not afraid of learning things, and if you are there to test things, then just do things along the journey, and you will feel a difference when you are at the end and you see back 2 years that how far have you come throughout this program.
Amazing insights. And Florian, we're going to come to you in a second here, but we've had a question come in from one of our students. So bear with me 1 second, because I have a question for you, but I'm just going to take this question. I'm going to open it to all of you in the panel. And I also want to bring Nathan in on this one as well. So let me just read the question out to everyone, just so you understand the context. And thank you, Hubert, for putting the question forward. He said, some of us will start a career in an international company. What would be our piece of advice to engage and influence people who are sometimes specialists in the industry, so they've been in there for more than 20 years, and so not to prone to listen to people who they see as interns or perhaps young leaders. So the question I'm I'm going to open it to you first, Florian. Give you a chance to come in and say a little piece. I know I've just kind of thrown you on the a really difficult one, but from your experience, obviously as program coordination, you work with the industry, you perhaps have had a career outside of education to a number of aspects. What advice would you give to a young leader or a potential intern or graduate going into a company, and how they can approach the engaging and influencing of someone that's perhaps been there for so much longer, much more established? Any pointers there?
Yeah, I think this is a critical point, and this is also an important point to start the career, because when you are too, let's say, too shy, or then you might miss some opportunities which give you a good career.
Mm-hmm.
But also the way around it can be, you should not go there and pretend that you're the experienced one and making a big show.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think this is starting slowly to engage, which means that start to present your ideas in a very charming way. I mean, this is something which is this is a rough advice. I mean, this depends on so many factors. I would not recommend something which might not fit to the differences in the size of companies, the international companies, and local special things in Germany. For example, I think in the technical parts and big companies in the mechanical engineering environment, I think people are more reserved and more technical oriented. If you come there with great new ideas, and then it might, I think you have to be careful in the beginning, but after a while, after a few months, then just try.
I mean, I think I think you bring a good sense of relevance in there. I think, would you say it's quite important to try in a very controlled manner, disregard the fact that someone's been there for 20 years? Because if you don't engage, you can almost become invisible within the company. It's the very thing of actually putting yourself forward. I'm not saying go out there and be aggressive and try to straight your point up, but you've got to be, if you've got an idea, if you've got an opinion, try and share it in that light, because that way that makes you much more visible, I guess, within the organization. Would you agree that's the kind of sentiment that you're getting to as well?
Yeah, of course. I think I've never faced the situation that somebody said no to when someone wants to share their ideas. I mean, this is something which will, in my opinion, it will not happen. So it is just a way how to do this, and to see in the beginning what are the rules somehow. And breaking them, okay. When you have the great idea, then why stick to them? I mean, it's game changing is the motto. So and change something.
So part of it's to do etiquette. Let's jump over to Sitska. Sitska, I mean, I know this is something that that actually you have a lot of experience or expertise. What kind of advice would you be giving to young leaders, interns who perhaps are feeling a little bit intimidated going into an international organization and addressing an audience of people that have been established for over 20 years? What's the kind of approach you would advise students to take?
Well, I think in order to be able to influence, obviously you first have to engage.
Yes.
So I would definitely let's consider that you know what the results the results are that you would like to get to, but you should definitely then take the time, invest the time in getting to know the people that you want to influence. Because of course we can have great ideas, but it's most of it is about creating an emotional connection as well. So invest the time to get to know someone on a personal level as well, and as well where is someone coming from. Use your own proclivity in identifying, okay, how can you contribute to this? Getting to know the other person so you understand where they are coming from, and find the common ground, and find as well the shared results that meet everyone's needs, because that will definitely help in getting your ideas not just across, but as well, and that there will be actions on.
Brilliant. That's amazing. And do you know what? I think this is the right time to get Nathan in. And Farhan, I'm going to come to you on this question shortly in a second as well. Nathan, I know you're not directly a part of this panel, but we would really love to get your voice and the viewpoint on this. Just before you kick off, guys that are listening into this, I'm about to release the next poll to you, which is very much the question around this topic. The question that's coming out to you is, which of the following groups are the most important for you to engage and influence? It's a multiple choice question. I'm just going to launch the poll for everyone. And over to you, Nathan.
Yeah, hi, thanks guys. Look, it's a great question, okay, Hubert, and quite simply, it's the main reason why this program and your coaching program has been designed, okay, because in this way. So, you know, if you look back, what we're trying to do is we're trying to change an industry, and we're putting new talent into an industry that has challenges to change, particularly when you're talking about radical change. So you've mentioned, you know, how do we engage people that are not game changers and have worked there for 20 years? So if that is your profile as a game changer, I will talk about that now. The first part is that the whole program is firstly about self-awareness. Okay, that is what underpins the Game Changing Impact program is around, and the GC index is self-awareness. Yeah, how do I want to interact? How do I want to make an impact? And therefore, what skills do I need to learn to maximize that impact? Okay. Now, I'm slightly different to Florian, because in my experience, particularly, is the best way to kill a new idea, yeah, is to share it. Okay. As soon as you share it, yeah, there's going to be people with opinions, comments, regardless if they've been there 20 years or not. So game changers, skills for game changers is because they have new ideas and they can see ways that they need to change, that should be changed in a process, a product, whatever. They can see it so clearly, but they're not always the best at articulating it. Okay, so skills to learn will be, yeah, engaging people around those ideas. You either do that yourself, certainly look at being the playmaker proclivity, strategy proclivity. Get people around you that maybe have more of that strategic playmaking proclivity that can help you shape ideas, position those ideas with that senior stakeholder, okay, or with that. Because, you know, and it's not just because they're 20 years experience. It's even if you might have someone on your course right now that's a very strong implementer, they just won't get your idea. How do you engage them? Yeah. And that's what the whole program is there for you to do. We have a wealth of experience in the student zone about engaging and influencing as game changers, as polishers, as implementers. We have that there. There's also a book out there that helps you do that as well. You can get on Kindle, relatively inexpensive, so that's there. Now, I hate to break it to you, all of you on this call, but when you first start your work, particularly if it's a larger organization, you're going to get paid to do stuff. Yeah, you're going to get paid to implement. All right. So if you are not a big implementer, that's not your proclivity, you're going to have to learn anchors to do that, because you are going to get paid to do so. That's just the way that goes. But it doesn't mean that you just have to abandon your game-changing creative district. You just need to find your anchors to influence others around that, both with yourself and also understand how they're thinking. If you think this person's a big implementer, what's going to be important to them? They're pragmatic. They're outcome focused, as Sitka said. You know, they want to see tangible results. They don't necessarily like change for change's sake. They need to see an output. You know, so you need to start factoring some of that into your communication, your engaging, your influencing. Yeah, either yourself or with other people around you that can do it better than you. I can talk all day on this, but fundamentally, this question is a great question, and it's exactly what this whole program is geared to help you with.
Thank you very much, Nathan, there. We've got another question in. Peter Grudzian has come in. He's actually aimed this question at Farhan. So Farhan, get ready. But I will also like to open the question to the rest of the panel after Farhan's given his answer. It says, in your entrepreneurial activities, you obviously work in teams. How did you convince your fellow students to spend more time in these activities with you rather than their individual academic paths? So I guess the question's been aimed at you in a way of how did you persuade them? Did you influence them? What did you do? Did you bribe them? So the context of the question, Farhan, is how did you convince your fellow students to spend more time?
I bought them Belgian chocolates.
You bought them Belgian chocolates. There you go. The secret to any convincing: buy seafood chocolate. No, please, yeah.
Always. Yeah, indeed. I think it's very important. It's something that that is an experience. I learned it throughout this 1 year. So we started back in almost July 2018. So at that point, we just had people. We knew each other, so we had a team that we know what are the skills and what are the pros and cons of becoming a team together. But the problem usually comes when you have a shift of basically your own personal life responsibilities in the middle, because when, for example, right now we are in process of finishing our master's, so everybody is conducting their master thesis. So when you have to manage the time in between, that's, I think, where it's very important to schedule yourself in a very professional manner.
Okay.
So we were not that much professional in the beginning, and we were just, giving a WhatsApp chat always and thinking that we are doing some good work. But afterwards, we started to implement really professional practices that we learned actually throughout this different experiences, not just the Energy Master School, but also through community work or other activities. So we started to organize ourselves in a more professional manner. So we were conducting meetings. We knew at each point a person who has one responsibility, they're going to deliver because the other person is going to deliver. So it was kind of a experience that came through, and we found a perfect fit within our team.
Yeah.
But I think the one point, if I highlight to you always, is that if you hide things from your team, you will never have a great team. That's the learning that I got. So you need to tell your teammates what is your problem and what they have an issue, and then try to solve it together.
Amazing advice there. So Florian, if I can come to you, what's your do you have anything to add to what Farhan has just said? I mean, obviously going around the whole part of transparency and in communications, what keeps things together. Is there anything else that you'd add to that?
Well, I think one word that's very important in this is time management. Usually this is because there are two different things in this case. So to convince someone to spend more time is not the right thing. I think the point to look at is the motivation. So maybe this is something which is the critical point, and not the time. And also when it is the time, then the time management is quite important. But as I could understand, in the master school, you can learn you have tools to arrange yourself in a more professional way, as Farhan said. Yes.
Fantastic. And Sitska, I mean, you have a lot of experience working in teams, having to mobilize the whole initiate side when we come to European Utility Week, which looks absolutely seamless when we're there. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the whole process of engaging and influencing. What tips and advice do you have when you've got perhaps students who are building entrepreneurial teams? What kind of stuff did you or have you gone through that would be relevant and sort of active for these students today?
Yeah, I think if I would speak from my own profile, let's say, playmaker, implementer, it would be patience. Patience, as in. Well, I think what Nathan was saying, the self-awareness. So, okay, what does frustrate me and why? And especially at times when times get tough, when there's a lot of stress. Obviously, time management is important, but who are the other people in the team, and what do they need from you? And what do you need, and how can you balance that? Like, I think it is really about understanding where you are coming from, and seeking to understand and where the other people are coming from. And if you're working towards the same goal, and you build a personal connection as well, then it's okay, right? To show your true colors at sometimes, or to be frustrated,
Yes.
So teamwork only works, and I think that is what Farhan was emphasizing as well. Only when you're being honest, open, and when it is transparent.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant stuff. I know there are more questions coming in. I know LA has gone. We are running out of time, but I'm going to bring this one in and then, and just kind of address it to you guys very, very quickly. How to challenge the status quo in a group team wisely without making others feel afraid of change and get defensive. I think this is a little bit around what Sitka you were saying. It's not just a one-way communication. It's not about you dictating and delegating. It's almost going back and saying, what is it you need from me? How can I help you? What can I support you in doing? Is that, would you say that's the kind of right approach when it comes to making sort of an impact and challenging the status quo of a group without others feeling disrupted, change, or getting defensive?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Brilliant.
That would be completely it.
Please go ahead. Yes.
No, I was saying that would be exactly it, and it touches again on what Nathan was saying. And if it's not you, if you are not the one that should be the one seeking to understand, as in, because I can say it because for me it comes more natural, as in with my high playmaker score.
Yeah.
But then find that playmaker in the group and make your own frustrations aware, so that person in the group, the playmaker, can help you.
That's such great advice. Looking to see if a playmaker proclivity isn't something that's so deep within yourself, is identifying the playmaker within the group and channeling it through that. It's such a valuable asset to and a way to look at it. Okay, so I'm going to give the results of the third poll that we put together. So we were asking you which of the following groups are the most important for you to engage and influence. As you can see here, 48% are looking at partners, which I would assume the highest ranking one was team members. And I think there was a sway on that just as that question came in and the stuff all the panelists have put together. Senior stakeholders, clients, these are I think they're all important within their own environment. But I think the lesson that we've learned from this is understanding your position, your play, what is it that you're doing here, and making sure that you're engaging is both transparent, relevant, and timely, to make sure that you're getting your message across the right way through the right channels. So I'm gonna bring this topic now to a close. Sitka, Farhan, Florian, thank you very much for your participation, your insights, and your advice here. I do have to move on. We're going to move on quite swiftly now to the last part of this webinar, which is really giving a little bit more insights into the impact, awareness, and coaching. I'm going to give this over to Nathan while I kind of set out the results of the main poll that I set over to you. So Nathan, over to you.
Yeah, hi, Kate. So just very quickly before we do that, that's a great question from Ale. I'd just like to just add on to that. Look, we all fear change. We're humans. It's the human paradox of change, right? We're fundamentally creatures of habit, but therefore we have to change to evolve, indeed survive, right? So, now, if very crudely, and you'll see this in some literature, each of the 5 GC index roles will fear change for different reasons. Strategists will fear change if they're not clear as to why we're changing. Yeah, so their concerns will be around why are we doing this? Why are we changing? Implementers will fear change if it doesn't drive tangible outputs. If they can't see the tangible outputs, they will fear change for what they're doing. Polishes will fear change. It doesn't move us on. It doesn't improve things. Yeah. Game changers will fear change if it's, quite frankly, not their own idea. And playmakers will fear change if it doesn't feel collaborative. Yeah, and a joint effort. I mean, that's high level. So again, it's about your self-awareness and awareness of others that we're bringing into this program. So I hope that makes very quick sense. And we're going to rattle through this. You have materials available to you. You've all got your GC Index report. This is mine, so you can see why I'm not particularly good at keeping things succinct. I don't have a strategic bone in my body, so I have to keep things concise. But you'll see in part of your report, there's a whole section around engaging and influencing. You can use it at the back of your report. There are top tips about being the best game changer, strategist, playmaker, implementer you can be. Read them. They're there. They'll help you engage others, other people's roles. That's what it's there for. Okay. You've got that report there again in the student center for the Ketan's coaching center that's been created. You've got this information there to help you talk to your coach about it. Next slide, please, Ketan. So really use your report. Look, and it's, you know, start reading these. The combinations are so important. You'll read them. And just pick any of them. You know, pick sort of the Richard Branson one, and then my best I engage and infuse others with crazy creative ideas, new ways to think about possibilities and problems. I need to ensure that I have the skills to engage people with my ideas, especially those who will make them a reality. They can be my implementer and polisher colleagues, okay? It's there. So if you are a game changer playmaker, there's a tip for you there, right there, okay? And there's others, yeah? Move on, Ketan. I'm just really rattling through this. You have all taken the impact awareness profile, okay, which will help you shape some of the things to work on. Section 2, engaging and influencing, okay? So you can use this report when you're with your coach to understand what things are important to you. So this is Grace's, by the way, she doesn't mind me showing it. You know, there. So look at number 10. You know, Grace says she's able to flex her style depending on her audience. Not massively important to her, and the capability is quite high. Yeah, so maybe that's not something to focus on, but maybe number 9, where it's more important and she feels less capable, maybe that's a good place to start with your coach. Okay, so again, when people fill this in, you've got some people where everything's important. Okay, you can't deal with everything. So use this section here to focus some of your coaching sessions with your coaches. Okay, it's there again for you. This is the type of stuff that we've got in the student center for you. So I know someone asked about being influential as a game changer or getting to see my ideas. There's stuff there for you. It really is, particularly for game changers. It's helping others to really see your ideas and how they're going to move us on. Yeah, but it's there. Build alliance with others who can help you do this. Strategists will help you appreciate the strategic value of your idea. Influence and polishers will help you see their operational value. Okay, so again, it's there for you to really help you get that self-awareness and awareness of others. And I think the last slide.
Yeah.
It's all right, no problem. You're probably doing the poll. The last slide just is a reaffirmation of these learning objectives. This is what we really want you to focus on the next couple of months. It'll help you whether you're going to do your placement, yeah, or looking at your placement, doing job interviews, working in team projects in your program, engaging more with the community to get the most out of your experience as a new energy student. So that's there for. And one of my favorite quotes on this topic, let's move it on, you know. We all have got things we can bring. Yeah. So I love this quote, you know, I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. But together we can do great things. And I think that just embodies what we're talking about from engaging and influencing. Let's leverage what we've got around us, awareness of ourselves, awareness of others, and let's go and change this world a little bit. Thank you.
Wow. I think you're getting a thunderous round of applause, but you just can't hear it from participants there. Nathan, that was fantastic to bring in. And guys, just a quick things, you know, just a quick things to remind you that all of this information that Nathan's gone through in terms of your impact awareness assessments, assessments and stuff, they all are within your Google Drive files. So if you're thinking about where is my file, how can I find out what my results are, it's all contained within the Google Drive file that we set up for you. The other side of that is, don't forget, when you're doing your coaching and you're completing your coaching, that there is a session form that needs to be completed as well. Make sure you're completing that as well. There is a section within each of your reports that allow you to fulfill what you've learned from that session, what you've taken away. But there's another thing when it comes to engaging and influencing. If you aren't able to communicate it, maybe it's something that you can actually put down in there, because that session report allows the coaches to understand what they need to do more of in your next session. So if you've already completed your sessions in April but not completed your session reports, make sure you do that before you have your sessions in June themselves. Okay. That's it. I think that's everything on a wrap up. Before we finish off, I have the results of the poll that we set out, the main one, which was how do you rate your ability to engage and influence others? It wasn't a situation of, there we go, we should have them there. Roughly 10% of the audience has said they found or find this very difficult, not fond, as the polishers in the room are going to tell me. Majority of people are saying they're getting better but need more help with this. This is good, as long as you recognize that, but you need to get out and ask the questions. You need to go back to your coaching sessions, maybe have that conversation. Engaging and influencing is the next session. So go in prepared to ask the questions to your coaches. How can I engage and influence more? What should I be doing? What should I be looking for? 19 or 31%, should I say, show that they're comfortable with their ability to engage with others. But that shouldn't lead you to complacency. It's always better to be actively aware of what you're doing. Use the GC index, use your proclivities, understand those questions that are in the impact awareness assessment that will help you kind of lead forward. So that brings us to the end of our session today. So this was a webinar on the importance and relevance of engaging and influencing. First of all, I want to thank both Marlush and Grace from the Career Centre. I want to thank Nathan from the GC Index. And I also want to thank my panelists for spending all this time out of their busy schedules to spend time with us. So thank you, Sitska, thank you, Farhan, and thank you, Dr. Florian. It's been a pleasure having you guys on. For you students, your coaching sessions are coming up in June. Make sure you booked yourself up for those sessions with your coaches already. Don't forget your coaching session reports. If there's anything in there that you want more information about, or if you've got more questions after this webinar, or if you're watching this from a recording base and have questions, feel free to drop them into us through at innerstudents@enterpriselab.co.uk. Go via the Career Centre as well. The buttons are in the Student Resource Centre where you can just push, click, and have a direct email to us, and we will get those to the relevant parties or answer for you as fully as we can. But for now, thank you very much for your attention and your participation, and we'll see you guys on the next webinar. Thank you.